Right. Okay, hey everyone. Welcome to today's Meshery development meeting. Today is 17 September. Lovely day for me. It's raining outside, and just in case I drop off by chance, just understand it's raining and thunderstorm going on, so electricity is going off frequently. So let's start with the meeting. So Meshery is a CNCF sandbox project, which helps you manage your cloud native infrastructure. You can read more about Meshery on docs.meshery.io or meshery.io. And before we start our meeting, we do follow a CNCF code of conduct. So be respectful to others. And in this meeting, if you are new in this meeting, we usually discuss more around what's going on in the Meshery, new development, new PRs from community managers, contributors, and maintainers. So it's a great place to discuss those agendas if you have any. So we do have a couple of housekeeping items. First, add your names in the attendees list. I am seeing a couple of people already doing it. So I'll reshare the link in the comment so that you can add your name in the attendees list. And the second is having the introduction. So just in case if you are new to today's call, feel free to unmute yourself, give a quick introduction. Maybe where are you from and what interests you to join the Mishri community. Anyone would like to go? I'm seeing Mr. Bobby today, a new face. Would you like to introduce, give a quick introduction?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me and for the contributing in the project. And yeah, nice to meet you all. I'm a DevOps engineer and site reliability engineer. Yeah, let's say the tools I use are the technologies usually are cloud native. So I'm really have a lot of passion for cloud native projects, and I found it really interesting. Meshery, as I was setting up multi clusters, and when you have multi clusters, you need easier way to do things and manage these clusters. And I really think it's promising the Meshery and the Canvas way. Yeah, especially like many Kubernetes administrator, they are, uh, let's say, would look for more easier way, or they find it sometimes hard. Yeah, generally when we hand over the projects, uh,
Mhm.
like usually not DevOps will the one who will receive the project. It's maybe backend engineers. So maybe this way is more easier way to yeah, they can administrate and manage the clusters. Yeah, thank you. If you like, you can yeah,
Thank you, Bobby.
that's for me. Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much.
Thanks for the introduction. Love to have you and love to see your comment on Mishri and would love to see how you use Mishri as well. Yeah, Lee, do you want to say something?
I just wanted to try to embarrass him for a moment. He's this is it's it's bubbly. Is that how it's enunciated?
Oh,
Yeah,
Or
Babili.
closer?
Yes,
Oh, wait, say it one
yeah,
more time for me.
Babili.
Bubbly, bubbly.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Okay, good. I might have to. Okay, good, good. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say, oh, he just stepped in and was poking around last week, but then got pretty busy. He's already got a PR merged, and actually, to be honest, I lost count on how many PRs he has open at the moment. It's at least two, if not 10. It's somewhere between two
Uh,
and 10.
four.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, he's been attacking the well, or not attacking, but he's been initially focused on just the various ways in which Meshery gets deployed, particularly around Helm or different configurations. I don't know if Nikita's on, but oh, actually he mentioned he had a conflict today. But one of the something I have to call out is that there's a significant there's a proposed significant change to the way in which Meshery initially deploys and how it talks to Kubernetes clusters. And we think that this change will make things from a default perspective, a lot easier for users to initially get to the value of Meshery by the way that MeshSync would deploy internally. And so hopefully Babali will help here. He'll give it a run for its money so we can make sure it's solid before we make it default. So yeah.
Thank you, Lee. And sorry, I was pronouncing it wrong. Thank you, Babli. And yeah, anyone else before we start would like to give a quick short introduction? Sparsh or Hirak? I see you first time here.
Uh, Hello, my name is Spurgeon. Actually, this is my first today's Wednesday meeting. I usually attend the Tuesday meeting. I needed to discuss about some potential fixes that I am on a PR I am working on. That's why I'm here. But to all the new people, my name is Spurgeon and I'm a BTech student in my final year and just looking to up myself in the skill wise and contribute to the things I'm passionate about. Really, I found this repo. Like, excuse me, my screen just got blank. But I found this repo recently, and it I learned about how it worked and how it function. How it helps Kubernetes cluster, how it manages to design Kubernetes cluster, and that's why in past when I
Mhm.
tried to do Kubernetes cluster and visualize it, I found it very hard to do. So that's why when I found it, I got really passionate about it, and I thought I should contribute to it.
Thank you, Sparsh. Definitely, yeah. Check out the docs.mishi.io. Make docs your friend whenever you start contributing. These should be your first place to go through to learn about any project. So I'll encourage you to check out the docs. Thanks for the introduction, Sparsh. And before we start, let's take one more. Hirak, would you like to introduce, or in case you are not able to, you can introduce always in the chat.
Yeah, hello.
Hey,
Yeah, so I'm audible.
yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Actually, I've been active in the Meshery community since I guess more than 1 month. Actually, this is my actually fourth or fifth meeting of the Tuesday of the Wednesday call. So currently, I've been working on a few backend issues, and I have contributed to two, three PRs. One have been merged, and currently I've been just working on the backend issue of transferring the connection definition to the mesh kit from the mesh sync, and this is all that is almost about to be completed. And yeah,
Thank you, Hirak. Nice to have you here again. We will discuss your PRs. Sure.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's go with agenda item. In case you missed, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, and we'll definitely chat there as well. Okay, let's start with our standing agenda items. So I think Matthew is not here, or he is. I saw the message. He will not be able to join, if I remember correctly. Okay. Anybody would like to cover this agenda item for the CLI?
There might be, yeah.
Maybe
So
we can.
Nikita is out as well.
Mhm.
There's if you don't mind, I know that this kind of stinks as the host when people do this to you, but they suggest that you share something. I was gonna, yeah, if you don't mind showing this for a moment. This is something that this is a decent resource for all of us. This spreadsheet, there are two spreadsheets that are pretty helpful when you're working with Meshery CTL. And by the way, there have been a few newcomers. Well, there've been a lot of newcomers. I think there's about 10 a day. So the community grows organically pretty well. Any number of folks come through and say, "Oh, I'm into Golang, and I'd like to, and I'm intrigued by the project, and I'd like to help out. I'd like to sling some Golang." And a perpetual recommendation is to, to start with Meshery CLI as a decent starting point. Or not a decent starting point. That's a bad description. It's the reason it's suggested is because it's easier to get into. A lot of the individual commands and the subcommands are somewhat procedural in nature. And they're only this many lines of code. They're like one mouse scroll of lines of code, however many that is, which is easier to digest and grok and add to. This spreadsheet is one of the ways that all of us and you design the commands behind Meshery's CTL, Meshery CLI. This is a high level perspective of like, hey, what are the categories of these commands? What subcommands are available to them? What flags are available to them? And there are 3 CLI maintainers at the moment, or 3 people, official maintainers who are focused on the CLI. One of them is very active, and it's Matthew. And of the activities that the place where he focuses is often on end-to-end testing using Meshery CTL. So end-to-end tests of Meshery CTL, and his focus as of late has not been on that. And so, by the way, the end-to-end tests, they are in this other spreadsheet. I mentioned there are kind of 2 spreadsheets that sort of track activity within Meshery CLI. This is one of them. This covers various end-to-end test scenarios that, again, actually, this also is one of the easiest places for people to get started contributing, because this is about shell scripting. And it's not about like doing shell scripting willy-nilly. Rather, there's a framework. BATS is the name of the framework. It's a pretty old framework, not in a negative sense. It's just, so we use BATS to help script out these end-to-end tests. So a great place for people to jump in and make an impact, own a test. Wonderful. It's a way to contribute long-term as well, because the tests get run every single time that someone opens up a PR. These tests get run, so your code gets used all the time. It's a good place to jump in. What I was trying to say before, though, on the other spreadsheet is that other spreadsheet's a high-level organization of the various commands and subcommands. And at the bottom of the other spreadsheet, that first one, there is, since Matthew has been focused on the end-to-end tests, there hasn't been a lot of organizational sort of architectural, or that's architectural is the wrong way of phrasing it. There hasn't been someone with an architect hat on, or a product manager type hat on, or call it whatever kind of hat you want, but just someone to come over and help organize this. You can see the bottom portion of the spreadsheet doesn't look like the rest. It's just been under considered. These commands have been suggested, and some of them are implemented, and some of them are really, well, the registry commands are right at the crux of what Meshery does. So these have been shown less love in terms of thought given to why they're here, how they fit into the rest. Do they have all the right subcommands? When are we done? Are we done? Looks like some of these are in bold, but some of these have green, and bold and green say these have been implemented and they're maybe done, but they're all under that experimental, that disgustingly pinkish purple line. Yes, that's right. We hate on pink and purple here for whatever reason. Anyway, they're below that row, and it's on like line 200 or line 172. Everything from 172 below is when you run Meshery CTL, and Ijoma could probably tell you this. If you run Meshery CTL, there's an EXP word, an experimental word, behind which you can invoke. There are commands that are behind that, commands that are just like in beta, still being worked on, coming out. So Yash knows better than to call on me or to offer up because I'll speak to it for the entire meeting. But my point of going off on this is to encourage all of you. I think that other than Johnny, who just joined and we haven't had a chance to poke at and welcome and all that, I think everyone that I've spoken to here, for my part, you are qualified to work in this area. Like, you are all intelligent enough to help sort of organize this, give thought to it, ask questions like, do we have all the right subcommands? I tried a couple of these, they worked, they didn't. Is this one ready? Okay. If you get into that and you start doing it, you can also start to ask, well, hey, do we have end-to-end tests for each of these? So those shell script tests, those BATS, BATS, BATS tests, do we have tests for them? So there's room. Yeah, time check, by the way, Lee. There's room for more maintainers. I said there's 3, only one, truly active. It's not just more maintainers on Meshery CLI, but across the board. Time check.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, definitely check out these spreadsheet if you are interested in contributing CLI. Let's go to the UI. Anyone would like to cover one? Because I don't think so. Ayan is also here today with us.
Yeah, he just snuck in.
Okay. Sorry. Ayan would like to cover this part.
Yeah, so with the end-to-end test on UI, we also have a spreadsheet for that. I was able to update the status of some of the pending adapter tests that we discussed in last week's dev meeting, which is kind of a hold note on those. It would be good with Oktoberfest coming up to maybe organize some of the remaining work. We have 2 kind of work streams in flight right now. One is migrating over to more of a stable, scalable page object model for the tests. There was one contributor who was working on an aspect of that, and that one kind of went flat. Someone reached out yesterday, and I just have to ping them to see if they can pick that up. But would be good to get some other contributors in this space as well, and it's a great place to also kind of get introduced to the UI. So if anyone's interested on that side, I'd love to have you contribute and help you out there. That is all I had on my end. Interested in, as far as I put some comments on Neymon, and I might mispronounce that, but as far as like adopting the AI model, and then there was some signature verification on the CI workflow. So I'm gonna hang back to hear how those are going as well. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Ayan. Anyone would like to?
Yeah, I'll add to that just momentarily, just in case people didn't hear the last portion of what Ian had said was that Meshery is up for incubation review within the CNCF. And just as we go to get all of our I's dotted and T's crossed, so to speak, there are, well, I will go find a link that shows an evaluation of Meshery as a project, its score across different areas of consideration. One of those areas is security. So what Ian just said was, every time that we make a release of Meshery, we build Meshery's artifacts. We build the project and we release those artifacts. Ian was just saying, hey, when we release them, we're not exactly doing a lot around provenance, not exactly doing a lot to sign those packages and help ensure that any consumer of the package, any user of the package can verify that the binary that they're running hasn't been messed with, that it is in fact the binary that the project released. So Ian was saying there's an open need there. Somebody might have recently put some effort into that. And so, but even if someone has, it'll take multiple people to review, digest, agree, make sure that that's the right way. I think to sort of lead the answer there a little bit, SigStore is a project that's got a couple of GitHub action.
Just to interrupt, Lee, I think we do have a PR open. I did take a peek at it, and there's been multiple iterations on it, and it looks good to my eyes. And I think the contributor, hopefully they're here to present it, so we can get a few more eyes on it just to kind of go through that. But yeah, I think the work is there, but just hopefully to bring it to some visibility here in this meeting.
Thank you, Em. Thank you, Lee. Just in case if someone have that PR link, they can share in the chat. Okay. Okay, let's go with our announcement and then the agenda items. So we got new so in the community mailing list, if you are not subscribed, we recently sent a contributing training session. So if you are looking to contribute in, especially in the Hacktoberfest coming up, you can check out those training sessions, and they have a bunch of links for you to go and check out those sessions, which covers each aspect of the Meshery, like CLI, backend, and front end part, and how you can contribute through the maintainer. These are the recorded sessions, so do ensure to check out that as well. In case you missed, you can subscribe from the community mailing links from here. Okay, let's come to the agenda items. So we have first from the Kisle, add a formatter for the academic quiz evaluation. So do we have Kisle today?
Yeah, I am here.
Yeah. Would you like to share the screen and quickly share what you have done? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Just a second.
Or if it is taking time, you can, like I already shared, you can give an update. Sure.
I don't think I'm able to share my screen. So yeah, thanks for doing that. Before everything, I think I should introduce myself. I am Kisle. I am an engineering student, and I have been involved with open source before Meshery. I have done 2 GSOCs with Zulip, and then Meshery caught my eye, and because I am interested in this whole infrastructure around cloud, and I don't know anything about it. I am actively reading the documentation, learning things, and I just stumbled upon this particular issue, and I thought it is a low hanging fruit, so I just went ahead and did it. I For now, if you expand the details drop down, you can see the full response that we get for the particular submission event. I just picked a few which seemed relevant to me, but I don't know if we can add more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just asking for
Oh,
feedback.
yeah. It looks great. Yeah, you've got exactly the right idea, Kisle. And I think the easy out, or the perpetual correct answer, is somewhere in here, there's a hyperlink to the full set of notes, or like all of the possible details. And that hyperlink might just be to the specific test. And we kind of have it in that first line. In fact, I think it basically is in the first line. It's just not a full hyperlink. Doesn't have the FQDN, the domain name at the front, but like, yeah,
We actually do have the link in the JSON. I just didn't include it yet. I think we can do that.
Other than that, it looks like you nailed it. I mean, yeah, it's just we'll probably talk about exams and quizzes and the academy in a little bit later on the call, and so people will have more of an understanding. But yeah, from what I mean, Wiley, did you see anything that might be missing or wasn't summarized?
I mean, I don't really know that much. I just whatever was required for the issue, I had to look that up. So I don't know if there is something I have missed in this PR2. That's why I was hoping a maintainer would review it and tell me if there's some kind of corner case which I haven't considered.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I mean, bringing it to the meeting like this is really good. It's a guarantee that you'll get some synchronous, high fidelity feedback. And yeah, I've got a couple of quick points. The result where it says percentage scored, if you would, make that if you would round that to a significance of 2, so like 66.67%, and then drop off we don't need to be overtly specific. And so this is just a test that someone took, just like you're at school. You take a test, you got to get a 70 to pass. They didn't. They suck and are no, just kidding. They this was just some, especially since you took this, like, no offense, you were just taking it just to generate an event. So, but yeah, in this case, they didn't pass. And if you think about the percentage that they received, 66.67 out of 70%, you might rephrase that a little bit just to make it clear. Here's the line, you were under it, whatever, you were over it, whatever. One other note is that where it says attempted at and it has a date, the date and the time, they look pretty good. It's a good format. The only thing that's slightly off is, for better or worse, hey, the date format that we follow, again, for better or worse, is month, day, year, and
Yeah, so
not.
actually I'm just using the user's locale for it. So
Oh,
for
okay.
me, it renders like this. For you, it might render how you would expect, the month being before the date.
Nice. Yeah, we that's good. That's ultimately kind of, well, that's halfway to the correct thing that we want to do. Ultimately, we want to grab it from the user's preferences. And so I don't know if that's where you're grabbing it from, or if it just happens to be from their browser and
Yeah, it's actually from the browser.
okay, and then the browser from their local system. It's a pretty good, that's a great thing to do. Long term, hopefully we will, yeah, time check. Hopefully we'll ultimately just, pull that from the user's preferences. And after this PR is merged, that might be an enhancement to do, and not just to do for in context of this particular event, but like all events. And then actually after all events, like, well, for all timestamps that are shown to users, that they would be shown and formatted in their user preference time zone. This is great, Kinsley.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Kinsley. I just had one comment just on the format, if in case we have already existing formatter, and I hope we are using it. I'm just a little bit not updated with that on the formatter. So just in case we are not using it, would be nice, because we are using it everywhere. We can benefit it. Okay.
Yeah. So, yep. And thanks for calling that out. I think, Kinsley, you are, just to double check, as you design this particular format specific to this type of an event, like a test results event, you're creating that in the code adjacent to other custom event formatters. Is that right?
Yes, I
All right.
actually went through the others. I didn't find like many patterns to borrow here. So at some of the places, like that those emojis for right and wrong, that's just my innovation, let's say. So yeah, I did cross check with the other formatters that are there.
Thank you, Kinsley. Awesome. Let's go to Bubbly. Bubbly, would you like to discuss your items?
Yeah,
You can share your screen.
I'll share my screen. I'll be quick. If you like to ask, please feel free. Entire screen. Yeah. So yeah, so they are. Sorry, I need to move this. I'm not used to Zoom. Yeah, so I'll put it here. This is the recording bar. So yeah, the first one is installation commands. This is the one. It's a docs task, but it's important because if you mostly if your product around Kubernetes, it will be installed using Helm. So I spotted the wrong commands and I fixed them, like not in a namespace, or some of them had an error. This has had an error as well. The next one is installation itself. It was, yeah, if we use an option, this is the issue. If you use an option, Meshery operator enable true, it actually doesn't install Meshery operator. It just install Meshery alone, as we see here. We don't see the operator and its controllers. It should be like this with the Meshery broker, which is a controller and operator and stateful set, Meshery broker and Meshery sync deployment, sorry. So there was, the operator was not in dependencies, so I fixed it. I added to the dependencies, Helm dependencies, and I updated, and I ran it locally. Here is the fix, the PR. Yeah, and I got all the operator plus its controllers. Yeah, yeah, waiting for the CI to publish the Helm release, and so I noticed also there is this test for Canvas screen snapshot. It's blocking the CI. So it's on every, yeah, it's on every pull request. The last one is production deployment considerations. This is considerations for anyone deploying Meshery on production environment. Things like to consider about infrastructure, having high availability. Basically, if we have self-managed Kubernetes, then we manage the control plane. They should be 3 control planes at least. And I put links for documentation from Kubernetes about the topology, high availability, and how to create HA cluster. The other things is our deployments in Meshery. They are not highly available. They deploy 1 replica or 1 pod only, and this pod could crash or restart, so they are not highly available. The high availability should be 3 replicas at least, so I put the Helm command for, in case of Helm, to have 3 replica counts, and I will do a high availability issue later and implement the solution to have it always three replicas, regardless which method we install the Meshery. Yeah, the other suggestion is scalability. To have autoscalers, whether KEDA or horizontal pod scaler. When we have a lot of requests and loads, 3 replicas are not enough. So we create a HPA or horizontal pod autoscaler to scale upon resources and loads or requests per second upon a metric. Yes, I see a question.
Sangram, would you like to?
Yeah,
you can.
Sangram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a point regarding the previous PR, the one that is related to Meshery operator.
Yes.
So in that folder, if you look at the install folder, right, we already have a Meshery operator folder
Yes.
next to Meshery. So I guess you are just moving that into the Meshery charts folder.
Yeah, I move it and I updated the value.yaml file and also I updated the chart dependencies. I included in the dependencies. It was not included.
So we should remove the other one then, right? Because I don't think that will be relevant anymore.
If there is a need for it to be installed alone, maybe we keep it. If no need for it to be installed alone, then we can remove it. We just depend on one chart.
Lee, do you know if we want to keep the Meshery operator installation standalone as an option if someone wants it, or is it
Yeah,
going?
yeah. Here's the reason why is because, and I think it'll be extremely obvious about halfway through my sentence, which is to say, yeah, if you have Meshery server, or yeah, Meshery as a project that's running Meshery server, and if it is responsible for managing multiple clusters, and if the deployment mode that you're using is to deploy a Meshery operator to each cluster with one central brain, one central Meshery server, but one Meshery operator per cluster, so that they can report back, events and details of resources that come from each cluster back to the brain, back to Meshery server. I don't know if anybody wants to finish off my sentence after this, but that's one of the reasons why there's a very prominent use case for just a chart or a subchart just to deploy the operator. And in fact, if you're in Meshery UI and you decide to establish a connection between Meshery and a new Kubernetes cluster, if you want to bring a Kubernetes cluster under Meshery's management, in that moment, as Meshery establishes that connection, part of what Meshery will do internally is use a Helm client with Golang and install this subchart or this separate chart. And so
Yeah, so the subchart is going to address all of our issues every time, right? That's my understanding.
yeah, I don't know. There's only recent, like trying to think of all the various scenarios in which people might want to get at the operator. One, a human, an administrator might like to go over and just manually and independent of Meshery, just deploy Meshery operator to this cluster. And I have to say, like, I'm ignorant as to whether or not our chart or just subcharts in general, if you want to, with our chart and our subcharts, the Meshery operator being a subchart, can you use that same top level chart, the Meshery Helm chart, choose to forego the installation of Meshery server and only only enable the subchart? Like, I don't know if that's feasible, but
Even I'm not aware. So yeah,
yeah.
I guess we'll just leave that for now in the Kubernetes Helm folder, and if we're able to install subchats without the master chat, then remove it later. Okay.
Yeah. Babali, does that make sense to you? Because it's sort
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
follow.
great. Yeah. We can check about it if we want to keep it alone or we want to change some commands to install it, deinstall the operator without the Meshery server. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So here also cluster autoscaler, if the current cluster cannot put up with the loads and resources, we can set up cluster autoscaler as well. Security and networking. So here we can set up network policies or firewalls, and we can consider the ports for Mesheries to be open here. Also a link for having more details. things like Meshery ingress, installing it in a more secure way with WebSocket support for TLS handling. Also, avoid using local provider for Meshery, as it doesn't allow authentication and authorization. Yeah, and using remote provider instead, like Meshery or Layer 5. Currently, it's Layer 5, I see it. Yeah, and more details. It's basically it's short enough, and it has links for anyone who would like to have more information or see example and so. The last is monitoring and observability, getting Meshery traces and metrics and logs, and visualize them in dashboards, let's say centralized logging, or setting alerts about certain metrics, yeah, or certain events, like if service down or the node is not ready, the node, yeah, or we are having 500 status code or bottlenecks for network, and so, yeah, that's it for me. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free.
Yeah, there's a, this is great. You really stepped into the thick of it, actually, because you're pointing out that there's liveness probes and readiness probes and cluster autoscalers and like various considerations around number of replica sets, or like, hey, how well can you have a single Meshery deployment across clusters, or like there's a number of miles of, things for the project to get to. Like the last thing that you were just saying was more or less like Meshery's telemetry profile or its monitoring profile. Like what, are there metrics exposed, or is there a recommendation around how it's central, like the logging level for production? Are there predefined alerts for specific logs that you're going to want to really pay attention to? Is there a threshold for some of its exposed Prometheus metrics? Blah, blah. Like there's all of that is on the table and needs to be defined.
Basically, we can really monitor, let's say, basically our resources, CPU and memory especially, after we have it highly available, so we can know the limits, requests and limits, the proper ones, for different deployments, for all deployments, because this has to be set by us, not the end user, after all. Yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, I'm just going to make one point. I think it should be in the interest of the user and not by us. We should rather give a recommendation on how a production deployment of Meshery should be. So the article should talk more of okay, this is how you should do it in production. These are the commands, or these are the ways you can change the values. But you definitely have to leave it up to the user to do it. I don't think we should hard code these into the files. That's my opinion.
Or yeah, or set, yeah. Did you use the word recommendations? Because I hope that you did, because then I will be agreeing with you that, like, if the project sets forth recommendations for something like, I'll say something silly just to make the point, like, hey, if the Meshery's CPU consumption goes past 10%, that's a spike. You got it. Something's wrong. Like as a project or as the folks who have made Meshery, we would ideally set forth recommendations or just points of consideration for people to get a feel. Like, hey, if you're monitoring a 40 node single cluster, Meshery tends to operate. Here's its profile, and you'd know it's healthy if X. And so here's the things that you'd look out for.
In fact, they are stated as considerations, and some of them, like high availability, usually on the provider itself, on us, I mean. Auto scalability, this is on the end user, so some of them could be on us, some of them on the end user. Usually no one provide one replica because Kubernetes is always restarting pods, rescheduling from node to node, and yeah, so it's essential to have 3 replicas at least per deployment to prevent or avoid having the service down for sometimes, or crash loop, or errors. It will crash the service if we have error, for example, in the pod, or bottlenecks. It returned 503, or yeah, it can yeah, get the service down.
Thank you, Babli. And yeah, we can definitely continue this conversation on Slack as well. And so, okay, awesome. So thank you, Sangram, as well. Just in case, I think we are already running late. So, Wiley, would like to cover your item? Ritesh, we will get back to you at the end of the meeting.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Wait, should be. Okay, the first one I fixed. When I look at our Meshery CTL code, I found we might have an optimization about the memory usage, and so based on here, and I worked on to optimizing our slice handling in the component processing logic. So here the function select component prompt.
Good.
I changed is I removed the unnecessary slice duplication. Instead of
Good.
copying to a new slice, we can now just iterate directly over the input, and also optimize the slice allocation. I switched from
Good, Wiley. Thank you. Good.
Okay,
Next
I don't
item.
explain. And also there's a typo of it. And also I updated the link about the discussion forum in our Meshery docs. So we are, the old one is still meshery.l, and I changed it to layer 5. So across the whole docs. Now every link about the discusses.
So Wiley, yeah, thanks for this. Although we're not ready for that, or rather, we're working with the CNCF to help ensure that that we can get a dedicated Meshery discussion forum. So we'll put this one on hold in the hopes that that comes around.
Okay, I just leave it alone. Okay.
Okay.
And that's all from my side.
Cool.
Thank you.
If Yash or Ritesh have, like Ritesh, you had I think a call to arms, or like a proposal that we would potentially continue the. Well, it was about Hacktoberfest. Ritesh, do you want to talk about it?
Yes. So we have October and Hacktoberfest just around the corner, and we have been participating in Hacktoberfest for some years, and we host a community event where we have talks, where some of our community members give talks and represent as speakers. So if you are, we would love to have volunteers for giving talks at community event. If you would like to give a talk, reach out in Slack. It can be a 5 to 10 minutes talk about anything like your journey at Layer 5 community, or talking about the architecture here, or about giving a walkthrough of how to create design. And also we need volunteers for keeping up with the issues in the GitHub. So we ensure that valid, good first issues are being created, and it is also not overwhelming for the newcomers, but also it helps the project. So, and also helping out with answering questions that newcomers will have. So if you are interested, reach out in the general channel over Slack. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritesh. Yeah, so just to summarize things, is like there are multiple things. So we will definitely post a message, detailed post on Mishri Slack channel so that you can give a read, and if you are interested in that area, you can check out and raise your hand. Most likely there will be issues. There are multiple ways you can participate. We will definitely send out a detailed post for you all to check out. Maybe non-code contribution, code contributions. So let me just reshare the screen. So yeah, so we'll definitely send out a message which you can check out, and then you can raise your hand, and Ritesh will help us coordinate, and we'll message you. If anyone have questions, we'll definitely come up with more details on Hacktoberfest in upcoming meetings. If anyone have questions, yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, just to restate that, you guys, sounds like we might be organizing an event just prior to Hacktoberfest in which maybe Yash, like signing him up if you guys decide to do this, Yash and maybe Ritesh are helping co-organize an event in which folks maybe like Babali or Sangram and or whomever, Ijoma, any of the people that are here, if you've been working with the project for a while and you have something to share, like to teach people how to ensure that your commits are signed off, as an example. And that's not that's not a silly example. That's like a real example. Like, but sounds like you guys are looking for people to raise their hand, and then you're going to assess whether or not there's enough momentum to schedule an event. Is that what you guys are doing?
Yash, can you clarify?
Yeah, so the thing is, what will happen is we are planning to organize an event, and what I'm thinking would be really nice to have is open a slot for other speakers as well. So we can have a slot for maintainers, which definitely I will encourage them to come and speak to contributors, and we will have 1 or 2 slot for contributors to jump in and share their idea. If their idea is really interesting, we will definitely encourage them to come on the stage and speak. So this is something I'm planning, and there is definitely room for brainstorm as well. That's why I said on the Mishri selection, I'll come up with detailed message after we brainstorm everything, and so that every contributor knows, okay, what next step they can do and how they can participate and raise their hand. So it will be a detailed message on the Mishri Select channel. Any other question? Awesome. So we are already on time. If there is any urgent item that anyone want to cover, I will wait for 5 more seconds. You can raise your hand. Awesome. Just in case, if the rest of the items we will definitely cover in the next meeting, or if you are also encouraged to discuss them on the Slack. And thanks for joining us today. There is a lot of things to come up. Definitely, I'm really excited for the Hacktoberfest, especially if you are in Hyderabad. Let me know. Definitely reach out to me. I'm really planning a great event here, so would love to catch up with you as well and chat about Mishri as well. So, and thanks for joining us today, and see you next week. And till then, have a great day and good night or good morning or good afternoon. Okay, bye everyone. See you.
Thank you. See you.